on the track.
Hey, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. It's been a while. I haven't recorded a video. I've just been busy outside of music, so I'm trying to get back into it. I've been focusing on my beatstars recently. I've been uploading a lot of the stems and the music that I've been uploading to YouTube there. Alright, but as you can tell from the intro, we're kind of making a Lil Tjay kind of beat, or a dark trap melody kind of beat, that kind of style. So let's get right into it. I've already made the beat, just so I get an idea of what I'm doing, but I'm going to break down everything for you. So I played the preview in the intro, and now I'm going to show you how to make that. So it's a super simple beat, and the reason this hits really hard is because the melody is fairly simple. So you're going to want 5 plugins. You're going to want a piano, an orchestral plugin, another piano, a sub bass, and a wire or some sort of pad. All right, so let's start with the first piano. So this is the melody I came up with in the piano. So the first thing you'll want to do is you want to select a scale that you want to work in. I just chose C minor as a default scale, and you want to start by building chords. So I found that a 1-6-5 chord progression seemed to work the best, and the way you do that is like this. So because we're in the C minor scale, that's going to be our first note, so we're going to lay a note right here. Like that. And then you can extend it out however you want, but the way you make the melody is, if this is your first note, you have to find the 6th note in that scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's a G sharp. And then that's a 6, so then the one below would be a 5. So it goes C, G sharp, G. Now you can build a chord progression any way you want with these 3 notes, and this is kind of how I built mine. So this is a 1-6-5 here, and what I did was I took the 6th and 5th note and dropped it down an octave. And then I copied this and also shifted it down another octave. So these would be considered our root notes. Now we want to build a chord, or I guess not a chord because it's only 2 notes technically, but we want to build something that has those 2 notes. Normally with a minor scale, you'd skip a note, add a note, skip a note, add a note. But what we're going to do is we're going to skip the middle note and go up to that last note in the chord. So you're going to have something that looks like that, and you're going to want to do the same with the other ones here. So you'll have something that looks like this, and it should sound like this. Alright, now the next thing you want to do is you kind of want to build that repetitive melody. I've shown this tip a lot in previous tutorials, but this is really how you build a hard beat, is you have a really good melody. So all I did was I kind of just found something fairly repetitive like this, just going up the scale and back down, and then I copied that over again. You can mess around. It's usually good to have something that repeats every 4 bars, so something like this would be your bass kind of melody. And now we want to build something a little bit more repetitive that repeats every bar. So what I did was I went up an octave again and built another kind of melody. So as you can see, I'm using a lot of these half step right here, a lot of these half step notes, and that gives this beat a more darker feel. When you use these notes that are right next to each other, it usually gives a beat a more darker vibe. So let me copy this over. So with that, this is what your melody should sound like. Alright, and for the very last step, I noticed with Lil Tjay melodies or beats, he has a very, very high-pitched repeating pattern in the background. It's very subtle, but it's there. So it's a really fast-paced melody that just keeps repeating all throughout the song. So the easiest way to come up with a really fast repeating melody that sounds good is to go up a scale and down a scale, like so. And then what we want to do is, before we get to the last bar, we want to take this note and we want to shift it up. So there's a little change up every 4th bar. Now we have this, we can copy it over once, and this is what our main melody should sound like in the piano. That was a different VST, so it sounds a little bit different. This is what I made. So for the piano, the only effects that I added was a little bit of halftime. So in halftime, I basically changed this band to halfway through and put the mix down to 33% just to introduce a little more dark, just a little more low end to it. And it kind of gave it the feeling that I was looking for. Okay, so now that we have that, we want to move on to some sort of string instrument or orchestral instrument. And the best plugin to use for this is BBC Symphony Orchestra. It's a free plugin by Spitfire Audio. They also make Labs, which is one of my favorite plugins. So you want to go in here, find some strings that you like. I ended up picking the violas, which are right here. Kept it default, kind of put the reverb up a little bit. And what I did was I copied the same chords in the piano and copied them over to the orchestra. So this is what I had in the orchestra instrument, and basically I just cut out some of the root notes just because it was a little too much low end for me. So I got rid of that, and this is what that sounds like. Again, that's super simple. It's just copying the main melody that we already had and building off of it. So just layers. Okay, so after you have your orchestral sounds, what you want to do is you want to open up your other piano. So I'm choosing Cosmic Closet and Piano V3. And I copied that top melody that we originally made. Didn't change anything from it, just copied it, placed it in this VST, and this is what that sounds like. Super repetitive, but what happens is when you introduce this in different parts of the song, it introduces a higher pitch sound, which kind of gives it a new feel to it. So it's not just the same boring VST sound throughout the entire song. You're introducing a little bit of a variety. So the only effect I really added was some Valhalla reverb, and I changed that. I left everything default, changed it down to 22%. As the mix, and that was the only effect I had. Now we move on to the sub bass. So for sub bass, what I did was I opened Serum and I had this preset called Milk, bass Milk, and all I did was I copied the root notes from our original piano melody. So this C, G sharp, G, I copied it over, but then I pitched these last two notes up. So that gives it a little bit of a change up every 8 bars now. We have a little melody change up at the 4th bar, and we have a bass change up every 8 bars, which is kind of nice to know that there's a transition coming. I didn't add any effects to that. It's just sub bass. You can if you want. I don't really need to. If it's too loud, I just turn the volume down. And then for the last plugin that I used Contact, and I use this plugin called Exhale. And basically Exhale is like similar to Arcade, where you can have kind of like one-shot vocal sounds, you can have pads, you can have some loops in there. So I went for this. I like the sound of some of these, so I spent a little while going through it, and all I did was I copied those root notes again, so that C, G sharp, and G. So all I did was I shifted this back up an octave because it was a little low pitch sounding, and then again I changed up that last note to kind of match with the sub bass going up instead of down. So for that, I added some Valhalla reverb. I put it to like 50%, again, left everything default. And then I added Magic Switch. Magic Switch is literally one of the best plugins. I use it in every single beat that I make, and it's free. So like, you know, why not try it out? So altogether, that was a melody. And this is what the melody sounds like. I'll play it again. Alright, and then we went to drums. So for drums, it's just find some hi-hat pattern that you like that kind of goes with the beat. I kind of made this. As you can see, snares, claps are playing at the same time. So and then I also added another snare. It's kind of like a perk in the background. So without the kick or 808, this is what it sounds like. And then with the 808s, it's just following the root notes. You don't want to overdo it. You want something simple so that someone can actually rap over it. That's the biggest thing you'll probably have to learn when making beats. Don't make something too complicated. So this is what I made. I hope you guys like this tutorial. I tried to keep it quick. It's a 20-minute video right now, so I'm gonna edit this down a lot. Probably hopefully be under like 7-8 minutes. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to buy this beat, if you want to use the stems or anything, check out my beatstars. The loop will be in my loop pack for July, hopefully, so make sure you check that out. This video might drop in August. And if you like the beats and if you like the video, if you like the tutorial, let me know. I can make more. If you want to see other styles of artists or producers, let me know. I can try to recreate some of them. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm PJ and I'm out. Peace.
TJ on the track.